A very good evening. A warm, well, actually, no, it's not warm at all. It's a freezing welcome if you are like me in Johannesburg, and I suspect almost as cold in southwestern Constantia, where you find Alan Committie. Welcome to Two Full Tosses, brought to you this evening by the Leyton Orient 76ers, the team that Alan and I have adopted for the 100, the competition we know nothing about at all, but which won't stop us from discussing it. And we are going to discuss it at some length, Alan, but I think we've got to get something off our collective chest, and a fair pair of chests those are. We've been very, very, very restrained, I think, so far on this particular topic. We haven't lost our temper. We haven't thrown our collective toys out of our collective cot. But when Alan Committie, when I turn on the television and I switch from SuperSport 1 to 2 to 3, 7, 9, 12, 17. And I'm watching skateboarding at the Olympics, Alan Committie. I'm watching 3x3 basketball at the Olympics, Alan Committie. I am tearing out what little hair I have left as I move into my early 30s. And I ask you, Alan Committie, for all that is good on this earth of ours, for all that is civilized, how, Alan Committie, do we not have cricket at the Olympic Games?
It's outrageous, it's despicable, and it has to change now. I'm demanding now. First of all, we're doing the Olympics 2020 and 2021, so that it makes no sense whatsoever anymore. In fact, I saw today, I think they're doing shuttlecockless badminton. At least that's how they described one of the players. And if they're allowing that, then surely they have to allow cricket. We've given them all the formats, haven't they? They could do test cricket, test match cricket. They could do 50 overs. They can do 20 overs. They can do they can do the 100, whatever. They can put something into the Olympics. What's going on? Where is civility? Where is the very core of civilization fallen to? What depths have we plummeted? I'm sad, upset, and I'm tragically, in fact, I'm done. I'm done. Good night. Well, I'll stay only because we've got a good guest, but I'm certainly not staying for pleasure.
We are culturally bereft. I do not know. In fact, I'm very interested to ask our guest tonight, because he's an intellectual giant. Well, he's not, but he is with us tonight. And I want to ask him about exactly this. I also want to ask him about the 100, which we have dutifully been not watching while watching the Olympics to not watch cricket. Before we get into any of that, though, every week, you delve into the back darkened corners and sweep away the cobwebs of the cricketing nooks and crannies you find, and you dig up a lost legend of the game of cricket. You found one for us this evening. You won't tell us who it is just yet, because that's how this works. However, you give us a preview, so let's have it. A sneak preview, please. There we go.
Look at that face. Look at that face, and look at that strange picture behind him. Is it a clue? No, not at all. It's completely random. But this little striped, shirted man was an opening batsman, a very fine batsman. Not even opening. Sometimes he'd come in at 3 as well. Played for a couple of provinces in the 80s, early 90s, and in fact ended up playing one test match for South Africa. I wonder if you know who it is. So get your slightly dirty nailed hands to type in your answer into our chat box and tell me who you think this lost legend is. I can tell you with some confidence, it's no Lee Barnard. It's not Lee Barnard, but it is someone you might recognize. We'll find out sooner than you think.
Bring back that photo for just a second. Bring it back if we can. So what I think, I've got no idea who this is, but it does look, if I see in the background, that looks like the image for the property development that this guy is selling, and then once he's taken in all of the money, he's leaving for Switzerland or the Gold Coast of Australia or somewhere else where people of repute tend to gather.
It's you've given some clues there. I mean, certainly not clues to the correct answer, but they're certainly clues. And I like your analytical thinking there. It's not something I've never thought of analytic thinking and Dan Nicholl in the same way. No. Indeed in the same sentence. So that you would. No one would.
Even a broken clock finds the cheese occasionally, or something to that effect. Let's talk about the 100. It has begun. I did watch some of it, largely because the channel had changed, and my 5-year-old son stole the remote control, and I wasn't able to change it. But it did allow me to see Dane van Niekerk and Marizanne Kapp smash I don't know what their team is called, and I don't know what the opposition team is called, and I don't know how the game that they're playing has worked. But I think, in as much as I could understand, judging by the way Dane was dancing around afterwards and seemed rather happy and got interviewed, that they'd won and South Africa were responsible.
South Africa were responsible for almost every victory in the 100 so far, it seems to me. That it feels like the same 5 South Africans are playing for all the sides. So I think that's one of the rules. I think they're allowed to spread South African players across all the sides, which makes sense because it means there's less English players that can play. The other thing that strikes me is with all the rule change that they promised us and all the changes in the format and how very different it's going to be, it's not different at all. All it is literally 20-odd deliveries less of a game of cricket. It makes no difference to the scores, certainly for the men's. The women's games have been quite interesting, actually, but then they always have been interesting. The men's games have been exactly the same as any shortened form of the game. Nothing's changed. There's a strange DJ man who makes a lot of strange movements and plays some terrible music. And all in all, it's just magnificently mediocre. And I celebrate, well done, the 100.
Well, really what it is having Daryl Hare at one end and Steve Butler at the other, and they're each calling every over short by one delivery, which they did for their whole careers anyway. So nothing has changed. This is cricket as we've always known it, Alan Committie, always.
And then it looks like they're voting in Parliament in some kind of, they hold up that white card as if me, your lordship, I need to make a point. It makes no sense. You can't say over. So all you do over the 2 hours of the game is listening to commentators trying not to say over, but not come up with a suitable word for what the unit of 5 is. So every time they have to say, well, that's those 5 deliveries gone, which takes up more than enough time. In fact, at some point I thought I was listening to Pommy and Bangba, but it wasn't. Not once did he appear, which makes me sad. So I think the 100 is a huge success for what it is in that place, and let's hope it never leaves.
All right. Well, that is at the moment. A quick word on the recent series that was just completed against Ireland, where a selection of South Africans got through an initial defeat. And normally we take South Africa to task when they lose because we have high standards here, but it was a difficult day for them. The country was in flames and the whole place was falling apart, and you could understand them being a little off color, but they bounced back. And for me, the greatest sight of all, there is just something so wonderful, so uplifting, so almost poetic as a muscular David Miller in a shirt 2 sizes too small, with that afternoon sunshine catching that flicker of Irish summer, which was about 45 minutes worth, and dispatching another bowler somewhere into the stands. We've missed him, and he's back.
We have. He's back. It was 10 games. I counted. It was his 10th game. He had to make runs again. It was fantastic. He did some like work every 10 games. He does it. I wish we should only really pick him for the 9th game to get him up to speed and then let him play the 10th game. That's my opinion. That's what I would do. But what do I know? Anyway, lovely to see him scoring runs, and well done him. Well done Temba for the series victory. Well done us. And well done, except those Irish commentators. Oh, were tremendous.
If placed in the context of the current Olympic commentators, there was a field hockey commentator this morning talking about the puck, which kind of summed up the fact that basically they went to the airport and found random aid workers who were on their way to Vietnam and just shuttled them in to do commentary on the women's weightlifting at all. We digress, which we do quite often. Listen, we've got one hell of a guest on the show. I am shaking with excitement. We were going to have Kevin Peterson, but at the last minute we were able to bump him because, gee, have we upgraded. But before we introduce the flamboyance and extravagance of this evening's guest, Alan's lost legend, it is a defining moment of the cricketing week right around the world. So let's find out this week, who is Alan's lost legend?
There he is. Look at that face, a face only his sister-in-law could love. That is, of course, the fantastic visage that belongs to the right-handed tremendous batsman, Mark Rushmere. Did you know that? Yes, look at him. Look at his young little face there. Oh, my
He
goodness.
looks happy there, doesn't he?
Yes, yes. Listen, he never looked very happy, but I think part of that because he played for PE for the Eastern Cape, for Eastern Province for such a long time. And there he is. You can see him just in full flow. Let's go to that next picture if we can, Ronaldo. There, look at that, Mark Rushmere, tremendous. Played a couple of one-day internationals for us, played one test match against West Indies. But really, I remember him, and it's always about me, remember, these lost legends. I remember him in a partnership with Philip Am of 300-plus runs against the Mean Machine in a Currie Cup 4-day final, which stole the game from us. I say stole because both of them were dropped on the boundary, and yet they continued to bat. Both of them made 150-plus, Mark Rushmere, Philip Am, and to that end, they are indelibly inked into my mind. He's no Lee Barnard, but he deserves our shout out. Well done, Mark Rushmere. Mount Rushmere, if you will. And I will.
That's a great call and lovely. I'm getting great memory. Well, a great memory. I only have one, but it is a very good one of Mark Rushmere. One last look at that photo just before we go, because I think I may have. No, the one where he's batting, if we may, Ronaldo. There we go. Have a look at those. Even Faf du Plessis' trousers do not define his bottom quite as magnificently as Mark Rushmere's. Those are ski pants, I think. That's
unbelievable. And there in the distance, you can see Andrew Hudson, the chief selector, running over to drop him for the following game. And that was how they worked. It was very much in the moment. Sometimes in the middle of the innings, you were asked to leave the team. That was the kind of cutting-edge tension that you had to live with. Back in the day.
Oh dear. Well, look, the tension is flowing through as the world of cricket waits to see who tonight's guest is. Well, he is a good mate of mine. He's a fabulous golfer. He is a Free State icon. He is also currently our national test captain, making his debut on 2 full tosses. Please say good evening to Dean Elgar.
Hello, guys. I've kind of enjoyed my 12 minutes of listening to you guys talk the biggest load of crap. But yeah, thanks for having me tonight.
Technical analysis, Elgar. Technical analysis, please. This is a very serious.
It seems pretty light-hearted, doesn't it?
Let's ask the very important question first up. Are Mark Rushmere's trousers tighter than Faf du Plessis?
Good question.
They do look a little bit taut, those, eh? I must say, when you put the photo on, I knew that was. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I've had the privilege of meeting him in PE as well. I know he likes to come and watch domestic games and international games when we play in PE. So, I've met him there, and I thought it was him.
So, Dean, the most important question from me, because you haven't really been following this podcast over the many, many weeks, and really you should have been, but that's fine, is that I'm a huge fan of Lee Barnard. When you were growing up, did you follow Lee Barnard? Because the man, the teeth, the legend, to have the teeth that Lee Barnard had and a left-handed skill, are you equally a fan? Oh, there we go. Even your dog.
Yeah, sorry about him. He knows I'm stuck in this room, so he's like not happy that the door's closed. And he's very loud. He talks a lot. But just to get back to your question, I can't say I've seen much of Lee Barnard ever play. This might be my last time on the show, I guess.
It really might be. We forgive you because you're very young, so maybe you weren't of the right era. But go and find footage.
I don't think I just remember growing up with a hi-fi in the house. I don't think it was a TV.
Well, look, that was Velcon, so 3 years ago that was still the case. So I'm not sure how much age that really is. Welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you on. Thank you for joining us.
Sam.
Alan and I were talking about this earlier. We did stats. We phoned Andrew Sampson, and you hold the world record for commentators describing you as gritty more than any other player in the history of the game, which we think is rubbish, because when I watch you, I think flamboyant, I think extravagant. Calypso is a word we mentioned, Alan.
You're my generation's Barry Richards. Do you know what I mean? That's what you are.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Thanks a lot. That is quite nice. I've never seen it that way, but yeah, I do think I hold the world record for the most times gritty's been thrown around, and I wish I could erase that word out of the English dictionary because it's absolutely a load of crap.
Just erase it. Smash it. You can. I've seen you. I remember you playing a one-day game in England. I can't remember if it was Surrey, one of the teams you're playing for. You got like 160 odd off about 12 balls. You were unbowlable too. There is a Sanath Jayasuriya, a Viv Richards sitting. You do not let it escape.
Yes.
As mentioned on WhatsApp, I guess we would never know, Dan. But yeah, it's nice of you to put me in a ODI kit in your little flyer to represent the show.
You're a better looking Mark Greatbatch. That's what you are, sir. And I'll have no one say.
You haven't set the bar very high there, have you?
Listen, New Zealand are world test champion. Don't be dissing them. Thank you.
They are.
Exactly.
Now, that's upset all of us. We didn't need to say that. No one should say those words about New Zealand. In your own head, when you were growing up and playing school cricket and then kind of through all the leagues leading up to international, have you always been, let's not use the word, but let's say dogged and kind of give your wicket away? Or did you go through phases where you were a lot more aggressive? Or what goes on in Dean Elgar's head? Do you think you're very aggressive and just people don't recognize it?
It's weird. Actually, growing up, I was quite an aggressive batter, be it at school cricket or club cricket, because we only played 50-over cricket back then. So, I mean, I was pretty much brought up with that format. So, and yeah, I would like to think that I heard quite a few bowling attacks growing up. But I think as you become a professional and you obviously have the contract to say you got to like kind of modify your game, and I think obviously a bit more of a conservative and a guy who values his wicket was something that I worked on growing up when I was a bit younger, and obviously I had a recipe that worked for the start of my career, and then yeah, I was like, you can't really change that recipe now. But I like to pride myself on someone that's a very adaptable cricketer that can adapt to different situations, different formats. So yeah, it's been my Achilles heel for the last plenty years now. Let's put it that way. That I'm only viewed it as the one format player, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. So yeah, but yeah, again, I kind of pride myself on being able to adapt to the different situations. Yeah.
So consider this. I know, Alan, we said we weren't going to do this till the end of the show, but I can see the hurt on Dean's face. In fact, I can see the formation of a single tear that's about to start moving its way down to that wonderfully squared and lightly stubbled jaw. And so there is a campaign starting, Dean Elgar, on 2 full tossers, and you will struggle to find 2 more influential cricketing figures than myself and Alan Committie, which is to bring Dean Elgar back. I don't think for the next Cricket World Cup. I think that's a little bit soon, but the Cricket World Cup after that. So 2027, I think you'll be in your and I think you'll be just absolutely getting into it, ready to go.
Yeah, I think by then I'll be past the experience phase. I think I'm in like the fossilized stage of a cricketer's career then. But I mean, you can start that campaign. Why not?
Yeah, then it means we've got something else to debate in 2027 other than is AB de Villiers coming out of retirement to play for the Proteas, which will be nice.
You might find he might be a teammate of mine by then again. You never know with that guy. He might just he might be like 45 and he's like still willing to go.
Oh dear. We've been talking about at the start of the show, talking about the 100, which Alan and I have been trying to avoid because we only like 5-day test matches that end in draws. That's the cricket that we love, which is why we adore you. Have you been watching the 100? Do you understand any of it? Would you like to be playing for the Worthington Spartans or any of the other teams we don't really know anything about?
Look, if I was getting paid £100,000, I'll play with my clothes off. So I don't care what format it is. I'm throwing all my eggs in one basket and I'm going to go play. But can I give you my interpretation of the 100?
Go on.
Please.
it's a binge drinker's absolute dream. That's what that is. Because now you've got even less time to try and pack in the same amount of beers, or if not more. So that's obviously it works hand in hand with the English fans, because I absolutely love that. I mean, they want to put down 30 pints in 2 hours. I mean, that's their kind of entertainment. I don't think they're there much for the cricket. I think they're there just for the piss up.
And enough about the children. What about the adults and their drinking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a purist of the game, and I'm pretty sure you guys are as well. So it's I haven't taken any time to actually find out what the rules are of the game. I think I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't think there's very creativeness when it comes to that kind of format. But again, I guess they're trying to compete with the IPL, and obviously, if they're trying to compete with that, they got to try and jumper a few things and change a few things. And but yeah, like I mentioned, it's a binge drinker's absolute dream.
Love it.
Maybe we should rethink our thoughts on it, Alan. I hadn't thought of it in that sense. I might suddenly quite enjoy it. Binge I might be able to get through it in that way. Listen, so you're not playing in the 100, which is a crying shame. But it has given you some time at home to reflect. What has the first stint been like? Kind of like Joe Biden after his first 100 days. What has your first stint as? What is, I think we can say, sits just above the president in terms of influence and importance in South Africa as our test captain, Dean Elgar?
Yeah, I think decision making is a little bit more important than old Uncle Cyril at the moment. But yeah, it's been quite a eventful journey so far. I mean, it's only been one series in, but it's I'd like to think that the good out of that series, I think, is a lot more than what I actually think, because I think as a test side, we're not too far away from actually being where we were in the past. I know that's a great reference point to try and look far ahead, but I think with regards to red ball cricket, we still got the basic fundamentals, and we definitely got the personnel within the squad that we have and the extended squad that we have. So I'd like to see the one outing so far was very good. No disrespect to the West Indies, but I think if you put the names on paper, I mean, we should beat them in Test cricket, even if we are playing in their backyard. But again, no disrespect to them. It is a game. Anything can happen. But if you're setting yourself high standards, we should be beating them. I mean, there's a massive 2 years coming up now for us with regards to the World Test Championship, and we need to start afresh again. But we've got to start, which is something that we've never really done. We've never really started well. We always tend to feel our way in, and then we play brilliant cricket again. So yeah, that's something that obviously has been identified, that we need to start better in series. And once we gain momentum as a team, we run with it bloody well. So yeah, big 2 years coming up. Good lot of learnings that's happened in the Caribbean. As mentioned, the personnel, in my opinion, are there. We've got a lot of young guys, inexperienced guys, which is sometimes maybe not a bad thing for them to. Well, we don't have a choice. We're throwing them in the deep end. Like Carl Verreynne has been thrown into the deep end of Test cricket, and he's like, Jesus, is this what it's about? And I mean, I said to him, we're playing against West Indies. We haven't even played against India yet. Wait until you do that. So yeah, a lot of promising signs. I think there's a lot more positives out of it than negatives for us at the moment in red ball cricket.
You're still fairly early on in your captaincy career, and so I think Alan and I are in a good position here to give you some counsel. Alan, having on a number of occasions, often on short notice, stepped in to skipper his high school second 11 with some success, and Watershed College in Zimbabwe having been under my management. I take you instead to the new chairman of your board, Lawson Naidu, who was on the show last week. Lawson is also the captain of the Spin Doctors, my cricket team in Cape Town. And Lawson's got a visionary approach to captaincy, whereby he asks the team to gather on the Friday night before a Saturday game. And if you make it out on the Friday night, that obviously puts you a little higher up the batting order. If you stay out all night with Lawson, you can open if you want to. And if you buy Lawson drinks all night, you then get to open the bowling as well. Is that very similar to your approach to captaincy?
Yes. Look, I don't know Lawson personally, but I think I already know him just by hearing that. But yeah, I think if you're trying to compile a club team, that's a great approach to do it by. I remember playing club cricket in Bloem, and we used to go out and look for 11 guys and see who's probably not the most fit guy around, and see if they wanted to play. But yeah, now it's a little bit different. Now you can't have 10 pints before a test match. You can maybe have one. But yeah, I guess that's the different kind of scenarios of the environments, I would say.
What is the current kind of template for team selection? Is it you and coach and outside selectors, or is it just you and coach, or do you have first say, or what's the kind of ideal anyway for selecting a team?
Well, I think as a captain, you need to have input. Obviously, rock purposes, you lost your out just but carry drinks. Yeah, I think myself and Bouch have a say. We don't have a final vote, but we obviously have a say of the 11 condition-wise and stuff like that. But we do have a selection panel, which consists of obviously our convener and I think it's two or three other guys. But I think it's difficult for a coach and captain to make the final call because I think you put yourself under immense pressure and you don't want to cause any issues within the squad. The word favoritism gets thrown around if you play your friend, for instance. But yeah, that's not the case. But yeah, there is a criteria for that. But we don't have the final say, myself and the head coach.
Bang goes Alan and I getting into the test side for the next game. Our cunning plan comes to an end. We've got not one but two rather tough and tricky little quizzes to put you through before we wrap up our edition of the show with our very special guest, Dean Elgar. But before we do that, I think it's imperative that we get your thoughts as a leader, an influential figure, a modern icon in sports, Dean Elgar. You would have seen, I'm sure, Alan Committie and myself almost reduced to tears of hurt, of frustration, of anger, of disappointment, Dean Elgar, that as we watch the Olympic Games and we see skateboarding and we see 3-on-3 basketball and we ask ourselves, where is Test cricket? Where is Bangladesh playing Zimbabwe over 5 days to no result at the Kyoto cricket game? Where is this, Dean Elgar? And what does it say about us as people, as a civilization, as a world, Dean Elgar? What is going wrong with this world, Dean Elgar?
I think it's just purely gone mad. I'm waiting for the egg and spoon in 3 years' time. It looks like any gig at the moment might crack it, but actually being a proper professional sport, you don't crack a gig. It's a bit weird.
Oh.
It's a bit weird.
All right. Look, on that disappointing note, let's jump into the first of our two quizzes. Now, to let you know, there are 5 questions here. Some people have done rather well. I think Darren Goff got 4 out of 5, did particularly well. Who's not? JP Domini got 1 out of 5. He struggled a little. Alan Lamb did fairly well. Scott Styrus did okay. Van Philander got 2 out of 5. Chris Morris, I think, got 2 as well. So you've got a wide range here. The questions are specifically designed for you. Are you ready to go, Dean Elgar?
Well, you leave me with no choice, do you? So
no,
it's like most things that we do together. I've got no choice. So
exactly. All right, 5 questions here. Question 1: in 2006, you captained the South African under-19 side to the World Cup. Who captained Ireland at the same tournament?
Owen Morgan.
Owen Morgan, indeed, the Irish Englishman. Oh,
yes.
Off to a flying start. And you don't say that very often about Dean Elgar. Right, question. Question number 2. What are your best ever first-class bowling figures? And I need them exactly right.
Oof. I'm going to go with my test bowling figures. It's 4 for 38.
You're right in the number of wickets, and you're right the
Yeah.
figures. It was 4 for 22. You do yourself a disservice, Dean Elgar.
Yeah, because I know there's a drag down there somewhere that's going to get smacked for 4 or 6, but I think that day they were a little bit shit scared of going out. So do I get half a point?
You get half a point. It was the test match. You got the 4 wickets, so we'll give you the half a point.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go back to February 2006. When you were 11 and Alan was still on probation. 2006, February, you made your first-class debut for Free State. Who got you out in your very first-class innings?
I'm going to say Ethian Balati.
Ethian Balati would have loved to. Unfortunately, he had to hand over that honour instead to Dale Steyn.
Wow.
Dale Steyn.
Dale Steyn, Free State versus Northerns. February 2006, 3-day game. It was the SAA Provincial Cup.
Obviously, he didn't make a big impact in my life that time. I would have remembered that.
Didn't go on to do much, really.
No, nothing. Only the highest ever we could take it.
It's kind of downhill from there.
Shit. If he put his mind to it, he might have had a real career.
Too busy surfing. All right. 1.5 out of 3. It's a solid start, but you need to build on it after a little middle order wobble. Not once, not twice, but 3 times you have carried your bat in a completed innings in Test cricket. Only one other player has ever done that. Do you know who it is? I think you do.
Desmond Haynes.
Desmond Haynes is correct. Well done, Dean Elgar. Was he?
Just two guys ever to play the game. Just saying.
I know. 2 guys. And all you need to do is do it one more time. So next time you're playing, just pray that everybody else around you gets out cheaply, and you can be 11 not out. The record.
Just a bit like junk.
Well,
the good thing being captain now, I'm going to open every innings now from now on. So.
Oh dear! Did you ever get to watch Desmond Haynes? Or was he just a little too before your time?
No, he was way before my time. But I've heard some serious stories about him. How he used to bat with a brimmat, and he used to just punish the Oaks a short ball, and that he used to have so much flair. Similar to me. Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. In fact, I think if you had Desmond Haynes and Gordon Greenidge would kind of be Elgar and Butter Dippener opening together. That would be the kind of comparative analysis, really. Final question for you. So you're sitting on 2.5 out of 4 so far. You've got a possible 3.5 points.
It's already better than my matric report.
We're glad to have pushed you upwards. I've got a photo for you here. I'd like to know the name of this cricket ground, Dean. Where is this?
I can't see anything.
You can't see it?
Are you still? I can't see it, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh.
I can only see your guys' faces. Oh, there. That is the Schweilich Cricket Ground in Cardiff.
And why is it so important?
That's where I made my ODI debut against England. In
a washed out game where you didn't get to bat, bowl, or field, but you did make your ODI debut. Did you field?
I did field. I chased the ball to the boundary and nearly snapped my hamstring off because the field was wet. I slipped so hard. And I threw the ball back. I think it was to Jock Colours. And I nearly hit him in the head with the ball. And I was like, shit, I think I just tore my hammy.
Oh, that's a great effort. 3.5 out of 5.
Very good.
That's good. Thank you.
And I tell you why I picked that particular photo in that particular game, because that to me, and this leads into the one other thing that Alan and I want to mention to you before Alan goes into his quiz, because it's really important. No, we'll leave it to the end. But I do want to mention of that particular ODI, we had on one side Dean Elgar, and on the other side we had a gentleman by the name of Cook opening the batting for England. So to have Dean Elgar and Alistair Cook playing one-day cricket together, that for me is how one-day cricket should work.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's it.
I see you in a side with Terence Lazard, Greg Shippard,
Nick
who else?
Compton.
Kepler Vessels. It would just be, that's tremendous.
Can you stop the bleeding, please? I'm going to go work on my mental state now.
Dean Elgar, it is time now to not think at all. I want you to imagine that you're Herschel Gibbs and no longer think. All you're going to do is answer quickly. I'm just going to throw stuff at you and you choose one or the other. Are you ready, sir? When you're opening the batting, do you want to take first ball or do you want to be at the non-striker's end?
First ball.
Would you prefer to be hit on the helmet or to be hit on the elbow on the funny bone?
Helmet.
Helmet, good for you. Would you rather wear it in the ribs or on the fleshy inside of your thigh?
Ooh.
No, we're going to go with the thigh. Ribs break.
Ribs break. Good thinking. You're thinking about the next innings. I like that. All right. What about an elegant cover drive or hoiking something for six?
Yeah, the cover drive. Because that never happens.
That's proper cricket. The other one's never going to happen. All right. Would you prefer to take 7 for 36 or score a century?
Century.
7 for 36. 7 wickets for no runs. All right. Okay,
yeah.
well, 100.
Who's the 100 against?
Bangladesh.
It's 100 stuff that. I mean.
Right.
100, 199. It's all the same, really.
All the same.
Yeah, we go.
Right. Silly mid-off or silly short leg?
No, silly mid-off.
Mid-off. At least you can see it coming. All right. As captains, if you had to choose Virat Kohli or Kane Williamson?
Kane.
Watching the Olympics, you have to spend a whole day watching either badminton or netball.
It's going to be netball if it's females.
No, it's males. It's male netball.
No, we play badminton then.
Okay, well done. So, yeah, because you're netball and then shuttlecocks and all that. Okay, I don't know what that means. All right, would you prefer, all these jokes are not for us, would you prefer having to talk to the media after a ridiculously bad loss from the Proteas or trying to get a bowler to understand any of your plans? Tough, isn't it? It's tough.
I'm going to go with the bowler.
Because that's almost impossible, isn't it? I've seen some of the bowlers. Yeah. Well, good luck to you.
I think with a bowler I could have a beer though. With the media I can't have a beer.
Well, you're obviously not hanging out with some of the media that we know, but okay, I hear what you And finally, and this really is the question that we all need to know the answer to, and it's going to end my little section here. Oh, as I say these two names, I just get quite tense. Daryl Hare or Marius Jonker? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You.
I don't think I can answer that because Marius Jonker absolutely cocked it up.
It's cruel.
Marius Jonker's not very popular at the moment, is he?
Not even in his own household. I don't think Mrs. Jonker would be happy with him with some of those calls.
She put him in a BSc. He's in the bubble. Get out there.
Well done, sir. Thank you very much. Congratulations to you.
Yeah, great selection. So we have one last thing for you, Dean, and this is really exciting. So Alan and I are not just incredibly well-known global media personalities, cricket analysts, philanthropists, and entrepreneurs. We also have the good of the game at heart, and that's why we're trying very hard with no success to become board members of Cricket South Africa. But in the interim, we talked a little earlier, you discussed it, none of us really know what's happening, about the 100. I think we can see that big flashing logo. So there it is. So we've decided, you know what, it's not really for us. We'd like to make you an offer, Dean Elgar. Together as the co-chair people, myself and Alan Committie would like to ask you to be the face, the star, the leading light of our brand new series. Please welcome the 1,000.
Oh, tremendous. 1,000
What?
deliveries.
What this means, Dean Elgar, is you can go out
Yeah.
the first 300 balls. You don't need to score a run. Just block the living daylights on it. That is beautiful cricket. Are you in, Dean? Can we count you in for our new series?
Come on,
I think
Gritty man.
that's even going to challenge me as a player because, I'm going to score runs as well. Like 300 balls, that's 160 runs maybe.
It's
Not in India, though.
It's 167 overs. I think it's brilliant.
I think back in the day when I was a lot fitter and younger, I could get through that. I think now I'm like, I need to take this game on now. That's two and a bit days of batting, a day and a bit of batting. Yeah,
Well, you start at 4 a.m. under lights, you push through, and just don't score any runs. It'll be nice and quick.
I do. I've just got a thought. As exciting as that might be for us, Dan, can you imagine over 1,000 deliveries having to listen to Danny Morrison commentate for 1,000 deliveries?
Danny Morrison? Yeah. Oh, look at them go. It's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, we love it. Yeah. It's the ideal. I'm so excited.
You're going to hear him on repeat a lot of repeat.
He's on repeat anyway. He's only got 6 phrases. All right. Look, on that note, it just depressed me by making me think of Danny Morrison. So I'm going to go and find, because now we can buy wine. Going to go and open a bottle. Look, Dean Elgar, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. I think the 11th most famous person ever to come out of Volcom. We are suitably, feel suitably distinguished, I think, tonight. We'll send you by fax, because I know that's the acceptable way, details of the 1,000 with your contract. And more importantly, we cannot wait to see you leading South Africa more Test cricket for all the joys and delights of the frivolities of ODIs and T20s. Test cricket's the real deal. We love it, and we love it best when you're out in the middle grinding the opposition into submission. So keep doing it. Keep entertained, and thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for the time. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Dan.
Cheers, man. Captain, my captain. I'll love it.
Go, Dean Elgar. Look, I don't like tattoos. I'm not a tattoo person, but I would consider getting a Dean Elgar tattoo.
I agree, And, we didn't even speak about his height. You know that he was standing up there just to get to the same level as the laptop. I mean, the fact is that's a man who stood for 40-odd minutes for us. He's got integrity. He's got skill. I don't want to say gritty, but he's gritty. Isn't he gritty? He's gritty. He's gritty.
He's like a freshly repaired Scandinavian road in winter. That is how gritty this particular man is. Oh, dear. Alan, a pleasure as always. Thank you for the time and company. I'm not sure who we're going to have on next week because we never really do, but we are going to try and drag in somebody from the 100 and see if they can explain how the quarterbacks and the pitchers and the three-point throws all work. In the meantime, though, we implore you, write to your local political representative, send a message to SASCOC in large letters and preferably with pictures. Do whatever you can to ensure that by the time the Olympic Games gets to Paris in 2024, we know that Dean Elgar will be squaring up for Team South Africa as the Olympic Games get underway. Alan, have a fabulous week. I will see you again next Monday.
Cheers now.